Welcome to the IcyData podcast. Today we'll be talking about the changes that have gone around the NHL, post-trade deadline, and how teams are shaping up in this final push for the playoffs. I'm joined by Mike and Lang, and today we'll be discussing these and more on the IcyData podcast.
All right. So there's been some moves that's happened throughout. I feel like some of the teams made some moves, some of them didn't. The Regs were sleeping at the wheel like yet again, which was nice to see. All right, and I know you're quite happy about something, even though some people don't agree with you.
Well, before we get there, let's start with the Central Division because we saw three of the biggest moves happen before the trade deadline.
Yeah, Kadri back to the Avs. That's a big move.
Kadri, Bunting, going to the Stars, and then Wild adding McCarron, Bobby Brink, Nick Foligno to reunite the Foligno brothers, and Jeff Petrie. Avalanche also got Nicholas Waugh, who I saw earlier today.
Yeah, like the only thing that the Leafs wound up doing. But anyway, that's about the Leafs, not about the Avs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the Avalanche looked like a very strong team today against a not that well equipped Caps team. There were certain players I was swearing on the ice.
Yeah, they might be riding the ship a bit back up to their form from earlier season where they just couldn't lose. It's all in, all down for another run. I don't know. Obviously, for this year, they have this team, but I don't know how much they might have sacrificed the future for future seasons. I don't know the contract terms for a bunch of their players. I know Nelson, because I care about Nelson, is for this season, and I think next, and I think the one after that. But he's only one minor piece in their puzzle. I wonder how much they might have shot themselves for the future.
Brock Nelson's signed for another 2 seasons after this.
Okay, yeah, 3 years is what I thought.
Yeah,
he's getting old, but like I kind of get that Tavares vibe out of him, where he's just consistent regardless of what happens.
I mean, you know that the two of them spent a significant amount of time on the same line.
There you go.
Yeah, but Nelson's personality was always had a bit more fire. He wasn't as much of a robot as Tavares was.
Word, yeah.
It was interesting today seeing Landeskog, Nelson, and Kadri on the same line. I was surprised. I'm like, Kadri's not playing center, and then
Nelson.
It's just a 3 center line.
And then Nelson's a really good center, though. Like people, he may not even be playing center. I mean, I didn't pay attention to the game, so I'm speaking out of my ass. But it's like he is shockingly good for what it is. He's always been beast with the face-off. He always is able to get from the face-off to where he needs to be here to make that shot or make that pass. He's always been solid defensively. There's a reason why he made an impact last year with the Four Nations tournament, and he made it back this year for the Olympics. There was jokes about, like, obviously his pedigree and stuff with that with his family. It's the reason why he should be on the team to begin with if you want to talk about, like, hockey royalty type thing. But he's just under the radar that good to begin with. Whether you want offense, defense, check, penalty kill, or even just a sneaky good, like, a net side presence on the power play.
Yeah, same thing can be said about Kadri. There's not that many players that you can put on the power play and the penalty kill, and they can play well at 5-on-5.
Yeah.
Those are, if you get them, you got to lock them down long term. And the Avalanche have quite a few of them. Nelson, Kadri, Nuke up front.
They just have an excess of centers. I mean, there's a reason why. Granted, they traded one and they got one back last season, but there's a reason why they were like, we're good without a young centerman on our team right now. But again, that goes to the whole thing about trading away the future.
Yeah, not gonna lie though, the Caps, they did have an opportunity to beat the Avalanche. They just made a few mistakes. Cole Hudson, we'll get around to later, was one of those guys where he caught a puck in the neutral zone, dropped it, and then immediately got the puck picked off his stick.
Yeah, one of the makers was talking about him, and I think that exact play the other day. I haven't watched him in a while.
Yeah, no, that's what happened today's game. He
Oh,
in
okay.
the
That was
defensive
okay. That
zone.
was I was thinking last night. Okay,
Yeah, no, it was tonight, and then that led to the Avalanche second goal. But
gotcha.
the other teams in the Central, Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild. Speaking of teams that are hot right now,
Yeah.
Dallas Stars in their last 10 are 7-1-2. They've just been a wagon. Only 5 points behind the Avalanche now, who clinched the playoff spot last night.
Yeah, I saw the Xbox pop up next to their name. It's Man, wouldn't it be nice to be a team out west? It'd be easy to fight for playoff spots.
Yeah, Will knows that about the Seattle Kraken, who are currently sitting two out.
I mean, the best thing that could happen to the Kraken is that they don't make the playoffs because there needs to be a change there.
Didn't they just trade for Bobby McMahon?
They did, yep. And he's a solid bottom six guy, which is what that entire team consists of. So I don't know.
So, Will,
Hey,
how do you feel about the fact that the two NHL teams you play the most for are tied with each other for points?
Fantastic. Really, really brightens my day for sure.
I just noticed I had to point it out. It's hilarious how it's like
Uh,
the West is entirely top heavy. You got like 2 3 really good teams out there, and then like
everybody else.
it's like your body is entirely your all your muscle is entirely shoulders. Like your arms, your core, your legs are sticks.
yep, that sounds right. Because like Nashville is in a playoff spot right now. They are the second wild card, and they
Yeah.
and they have 73 points. That's uh, they have a negative 24 goal differential.
Wait, is that
Like
is that worse than the than Detroit's? I know they had a negative. They're negative 3. Wow.
Or negative
Okay.
three.
yeah. Um,
Granted, the Ducks are negative 8 and first in the Pacific.
yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of the Pacific, let's move on to the Pacific. You got the Kraken adding by McMahon, the Kings adding Scott Lawton, Knights getting Nick Dowd,
Like down.
Oilers getting Dickinson, the other Doc brother, Connor Murphy from the Blackhawks, Ducks getting John Carlson from DC. Thank you for that first round pick.
Yeah, some people are quite sad to see him go, including your favorite player. But we can save that for the Metro.
Uh, John Carlson was a guy that had to get out. He had gotten too complacent defensively in DC because he knew he was going to get 20 plus minutes a night, and then if he had a brain fart on defense that led to a goal, which is almost every game, no one's going to bench him. So, best thing to do is get what you can for him if you're not going to re-sign him.
Well, then I'll ask you the question now then, because like there's Ovechkin hasn't talked about whether he'll return next season or the season after that, after this one yet.
I,
And
I
John Carlson being his best friend, and it's literally saying publicly that it's the saddest moment in his entire career. Like, if Carlson does not, hypothetically, if he does not resign to go back to the Capitals, which I know would drive you insane, but let's say he does what you want to do and he stays on a different team, but because of that, Ovechkin's just like he's retiring after the season. What do you think?
before after they won the Stanley Cup, Brooks Orpik's albatross of a contract, $5.5 million a year, was sent to the Avalanche along with Philip Grubauer. And then the Avalanche ended up buying out Orpik's contract, and the Caps re-signed him for another year. But watching that guy play defense during the 18-19 season was brutal. It was just not fun to watch. With Carlson, I have not had the opportunity to see his performance out on the West Coast.
I think he's gotten a goal or two, last I know.
Wow.
Should have thought this about
Only
ahead of
games
time
are
and load up IcyData to see the recent stuff. That way I can put it up on screen. But
no, he's only got one assist. He's only played. He was injured, so he's only played the past week.
I could have sworn I saw his name pop up in something. Maybe it was something that got called back.
He got an assist last night or 2 nights ago, Friday night.
I'm just saying maybe I saw something get posted. Like we've talked about the IcyData Discord bot. Will occasionally put something up there, but it'll get either called back or change to someone else's goal. Maybe something like that I saw. My mistake.
I don't even think he's got an assist.
Oh, he did. He did.
They might have taken it away because I'm looking at the game from the 3 games he's played for the Ducks on the 14th, the 17th, and 19th. There's no points. That being said,
Hockey Reference and NHL disagrees with the. I guess they gave him a secondary assist after the game.
Interesting. Okay. Regardless, hasn't been a negative, so I'd say he's doing okay right now in Anaheim.
Yeah.
It takes time for people to mesh in. I feel like the Islanders had one player that they traded for one time that meshed almost immediately and did fantastically, and it's like almost every other player we've ever traded to acquire, like it takes them a season or two to mesh if they ever mesh. And I feel like that's been the story of at least the Islanders, and I feel like that's probably been pretty common for other teams. How often does a player just get in there and within 2 weeks just clicks?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, the Pacific, as much as teams have loaded up, are a very, very poor bunch to watch.
Yeah.
But Vegas has gone on a cold streak.
And if you like just look at like how people like how how our Oilers ranker like talks about the team, like you'd assume they're out of a playoff spot. You'd assume they're like, okay, they're probably like a 8th to 25th in the league, somewhere about that. Actually, that might be like 25th in the league. No, 18th. Okay. But it's like, no, they're second in the Pacific.
It's that bad.
Yeah.
The Caps have more points than the Oilers.
Many teams over these have more points than the Oilers.
Pretty much, except the Devils, Panthers, Leafs, and Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my model only barely has them making the playoffs. So.
The Oilers?
Yep.
I could see it, but it's just like they got 1 point on Vegas, and they only have. I mean, they're 1 point behind Utah, who's in the first wild card, but they're still for the next Pacific team. They're still got 77 to 72. They still got a 5-point lead there over the Kings, who have been struggling. 7-point lead over the Sharks. Winnipeg is at 70 points as well.
Sharks are a team that have collapsed down the stretch.
They have.
It is surprising and not surprising that a young team would start making a lot of more mental mistakes.
Well, they're probably just sitting there on the bench, like looking up the scoreboard, like, oh, we let one in. Now it's gonna come. It's gonna happen again. We let one in. Now the floodgates are going to be open, and we're going to let in 5 more. There's no refocus. There's no head down. Head down focus on what's in front of you every inch at a time. I mean, it's. I was doing the same thing before I learned that Kyle Clutterbuck apparently does this. He was talking about it in a recent Islanders broadcast where like he doesn't look at the standings at all throughout the entire season until one day, and that's St. Patrick's Day. That's when he starts looking at whatever the standings are, because the standings don't matter functionally until St. Patrick's Day. And
interesting.
I kind of look at it as a similar thing. I don't look too far ahead of what the schedule is. I care about whatever the next game is. I know the Islanders are playing the Blue Jackets today, and I can't tell you who they're playing after today. I don't know when next game. I don't know when next game is. It could be. Well, it wouldn't be tomorrow. because 3 in a row like that is crazy. But it could be Tuesday, it could be Wednesday, it could be Thursday. It wouldn't be Friday, but it could be Friday. I don't know. It's just looking at whatever that next game is.
Well, the
Oh,
Islanders, you should know, have the third toughest remaining schedule.
yeah, it doesn't surprise me. That's what tends to happen to us.
Yeah, after tonight, go play Chicago, and then Stars, Panthers, Penguins. Yeah, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday. So one day off in between.
Yeah, I knew the Buffalo game was coming up, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty much all that I knew. Looking at it now, that's the only thing I had in my mind of for stuff that was coming out.
I think for your model, you were mentioning the Oilers and their playoff uh, outlook. What is your model saying about why they would barely get in or miss the playoffs?
That's a great question. I don't actually have it display um, like the thought process there, just kind of like what the projection is. It has the Oilers at a 57.1% chance to make it.
So if the Oilers don't
So
make it, then who would make it?
if the Oilers don't make it, um,
Three teams coming out of the Pacific.
yeah, there it could be the Mammoth pushing them out
No, if the
of that
Mammoth are in the
spot.
Central.
Well, for the wild card.
Okay, but then that's why I'm asking, what are the three
Oh,
teams
the
that
the,
are
the
left
king
to stay
the
up?
Kings. For some reason, my model really likes the Kings. It thinks they're going to finish with 89.9 points.
They
Um,
have they have the easiest remaining schedule. They play the
That
Canucks
helps.
three times, the Flames twice, Blues, the Leafs, the Kraken, and the Predators twice.
there you go.
And they have a few games there though.
That's
That's
10 of
also like
their.
they got a few games there that are also. They mentioned the Predators. They're fighting with the Predators to try to take the playoff spot from them. Like the
That's true.
Predators are 3 points ahead of LA right now.
Yeah,
Yes.
Nashville's had strong possession numbers, which I noticed this a few weeks back, where Nashville's possession numbers are pushing them up the standings, but they wasn't reflecting their actual play. Then all of a sudden, you start seeing them pick up their play.
Yeah, if the advanced stats are looking good, then even if the scoreboard isn't reflecting it, as long as you keep that going, it will eventually turn over to actual primary stats performance.
Yep. Right now, the model's got from the Central, the Avs, the Stars, and the Wild in that order, 1, 2, 3, and then the Pacific Division, they've got the Ducks on top actually, with the
On
Golden
top.
Knights, and then the Kings, and then for the wild card, it would be the Mammoth first, and then the Oilers.
So the Oilers do still make it, then they just don't make it in the Pacific.
Barely.
Just yeah, they just barely squeak in.
Okay,
So
but then let's continue the train of thought. Like hypothetically, if the Oilers don't make it in the wild card slot, because it is still
Who's the
possible,
number 9?
who would be the team to go in?
number 9 would be so the Oilers are at 80. It would be the Sharks.
Ooh, interesting.
Sharks that are sliding backwards right now, but still
Yep.
have
Yeah,
a very weak schedule
what
remaining.
what's the schedule like for the Jets? Because the Jets have been strangely on a little bit of a tear recently, able to pick it up a little bit.
It's middle of the pack. They still got 2 games against the Avalanche.
Yeah, they also
Game against
are negative games in their favor as well from the games played.
Yeah, usually you look at like, because my model looks at like games remaining, and it's like odds of winning those games, and
Oh, no, I understand that.
like Avalanche, I've got like most teams, it's like 80-90% chance you're gonna lose.
Yeah. Well, I was just asking in general. I don't know what the strength of anyone's schedule is. I don't have that open up in front of me at all. I'm sitting here with a laptop and a smartphone.
No, that's fair. But yeah, it is tougher for the Jets.
It's definitely a feature I should add to the website is strength of schedule.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah.
However, it does use like strength of schedule,
Reasoning.
like for prediction. Yeah, because like it tries to predict based on how a team is performing, um, like how they're going to do in the next 10 or so games or what have you. And if there's a particular team that is struggling, it will obviously reflect in the prediction.
Yeah, I usually load it up over the summer once the NHL releases their schedule. That giant Excel sheet, just
How strong have your guys' models been so far this season? Like obviously, I know. Well, yours
I'm
is new this season.
I'm at 60%, if you can believe that.
That's pretty good.
It's been a while since I looked, so let me just double check before I mess with myself. I'm at 58.9%.
Yeah, down low, but hey, if as long as you're at least at like 52%, you're strong.
Yeah, I can go to Vegas with that.
Yeah.
you got to be over, no, you got to be over 60% if you want to win in Vegas.
I mean,
He was at 60 earlier.
I mean, as long as I'm over 50, we're doing well. So like I've got different levels of like confidence levels.
Yeah.
And I'm at 62.6% on high confidence predictions. So if I only bet on, the model that is high confidence on, and then I'm at 53% at medium confidence, and then 51.6% at low confidence. So I mean,
Hey, you're so positive.
this model's pretty solid.
You're positive on your low
model's pretty
confidence too. That's impressive.
Those are usually the toss-up games where
Still.
it's like it really is 50-50. Yeah.
But the low confidence ones would still be the ones where they have the biggest potential for margin of error. So it's
very true.
To still be able to be in the positive side of things, to be even 51 or at least at 51.2%, I think it was, is still impressive to begin with. What about you, D? Have you been keeping track of any of that?
Sort of, because it's always funny at the beginning of the year.
Good thing we're not beginning of the year. I'm joking.
So I'm going back to the 10th week of the season, and it was essentially Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota, Utah out of the Central, and then Vegas, LA, Anaheim, Edmonton out of the Pacific, and it's kind of fluctuated with Nashville sneaking in as a 9 seed. So.
What I'm kind of curious about is not only did your model, like 10 weeks into the season, predict Minnesota as the third team, but even after Quinn Hughes is now on the team, they're still being predicted in that third spot.
Oh, sorry, Minnesota was third in the Central at the let me see, week 10. Well, I had 1, 2, 3.
That's more the fault of the NHL structure.
I had Minnesota as the 7th best team in the league, and now
they're the 5th team. That's still pretty close.
Now I would expect Quinn Hughes to do more than that kind of a jump, but
if you think about it, the defensemen do play more time, but you're taking out Zeev Buim, inserting Quinn Hughes. Now there's a funky distribution of ice time going on.
Also, keep in mind, like we just talked a minute ago about the time for teams to settle in, for players to settle in with players coming in, for any sort of mid-season trade, season trade like that. And so it's good. It's obviously the impact's going to probably come later, but the impact defensively, I know it's been absolutely massive. They've gone from like the 31st, the number 32 team in the league defensively up to like, I think it was like 7 or 8. And I think I'm talking stats from that I saw 2-3 weeks ago or something like that for like the Olympic break. But it's still like that big of a shift, at least defensively. So they might not be getting scored on as much, but doesn't necessarily mean they're scoring more goals because of it.
Yeah, I wish I'd had the model like running before and after the Quinn Hughes trade. So I could actually see what kind of an effect it would have had. Now, like I could run it retroactively and just have it use like previous games as a as a guide, but it's not quite the same. But I would have been really interested to see just like how much an effect the model thinks about Quinn Hughes specifically. Would have been interesting.
Yeah, I think the thing is, the way I look at it is when players come in, you're essentially slotting like these 6 defensemen game in and game out. So the amount of change, like I think the most I've seen in the post-pandemic is like 8 standing points change. Like that's the biggest change I've seen. Like because they're coming in middle of the season, they're not coming in at the beginning.
Right.
Which is a huge difference. If you have a player at the beginning of the year, you can kind of project him throughout all 82 games. So when they come in, when there's like 30 some odd games left, now whatever that change would be, you kind of cut it in half.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
if you have a player come in before the season starts, let's say a trade deadline pickup, I'll use 2 players the Islanders were involved with before and more recently. When the Islanders acquired Jordan Eberle, that was a draft decision, draft day trade or day before draft trade or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And when we acquired Heineman from the Habs this past draft, also a draft day trade. They were able to come into the team and have an impact. Both of them had an impact immediately. Heineman started off hot, and he's picked up again. He's actually become quite. I think he has 18 or 19 goals on the season so far, and I think he had 2 the other night in the same game, and I think he had one last night against the Habs. And Eberle had a similar type of thing when we traded for him. Going into that season, that was Matt Barzal's rookie season. And that was also the second season for Anthony Beauvillier, and the 3 of them played an amazing line together to get Matt Barzal the Calder Trophy. So being trade deadline acquisitions don't necessarily have a big of an impact as they could potentially have if they came in during the offseason, during like a trade during the draft day trade.
Yeah. Speaking of, Nashville just won their game against Chicago, so that will give them 2 points in the standings. And Winnipeg won as well against the Rangers. So,
well, I'm happy
Winnipeg.
about that. But they did a shootout. They get a point. I'm fine with the Reds getting a loser point. It makes them feel bad.
Wow. You would want them to pump up the points they have so that they get a worse.
No, I want them to lose, but I'm fine with them getting loser points because it's that like extra bitterness in their mouth.
Also, kind of ruins their draft position.
Exactly. That's the other part of it.
Yeah, I was actually looking at my model yesterday, and I was seeing that the Jets had a better than 50% chance of beating the Penguins, and it almost came to fruition.
For yesterday?
Yeah.
Also in a shootout.
Let's hold on. Let me check what my model said for that. That's interesting. Winnipeg and Pittsburgh played yesterday?
Yeah,
yesterday matinee game.
Why don't I see that?
Did we find another bug?
I mean, it could be just that the time has passed, that it's no longer being displayed on the.
Oh yes, it's like 24 hours passed.
Yeah. Hold
okay,
on. Let's
that must be the case. Doesn't your Discord bot link over to the game pages?
Yeah. So my prediction was at medium confidence, and it predicted Winnipeg would win at a rate of 56%.
Oh.
So still kind of a toss up.
But slightly leaning Winnipeg.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it went to a shootout. That's functionally a tie, so you can say it's a push.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jets plus 1.5 that game was a very solid return.
Well, yeah, when you get 8 goals in a game, it's obviously not counting the shootout.
Yeah. But now going back let's go to the East. We were talking about the Rangers,
yes.
The Penguins.
Yeah, the Rangers. Speaking of teams that don't do anything,
well,
I like you.
I mean, I think the Penguins not doing anything is actually perfect.
for them.
Yes. Um, I am still very bitter that Dubas is not the GM of the Maple Leafs.
Blame
It,
Shanahan.
Yeah,
yes, it is. It is absolutely Shanahan absolutely screwed them.
it's
That being said, I think the Penguins standing pat. That is what they should have done. They are not willing to, at least in my opinion, like the vibe I'm getting is they're not going to leverage short-term immediate success,
yeah, that would be completely
um,
stupid for them to do.
right? Just to get Sid
And
a
Jim
cup.
Rutherford.
Obviously, they're going to try and get Sid and Malkin and Letang another cup, but they're not going to like ruin the future of when they're gone.
Yeah, if if,
Um,
if anything, what they should have, they probably definitely tried to do, because GMs tried to do a lot of different things. Tried to sell off a minor piece for the rights that some of those teams were paying for. Tried to sell off a
mhm.
very minor piece that isn't really necessary. Just to hope that the current team without that person can do it, and they also then gain, I don't know, a second round pick and a second round pick and a prospect that could potentially fill that same role.
Well,
Right,
they did make some trades, but all their work was done before the trade deadline,
right.
except for sending Brett Kulak, Colorado, for Sam Girard and a second round pick. Two
Yeah,
more advanced than
small
that.
like little tweaking changes. In fact, like the best way that I can compare it is like making that trade in Chell, where you're trading a 77 overall player for a 78. Okay, and you're just slightly getting that a little bump, and that's kind of the vibe I'm getting out of Dubas and the moves that he's making.
Yeah, the Islanders did a similar type of thing that was made for an AHL player earlier this year with the Blues. So the first Blue trades we actually did, we took someone that was 2 years older than the player that we got in return and had like half the scoring, and gave it to the Blues, and got someone who was 2 years younger and twice the amount of scoring back, and it was just a 1-for-1 deal. It's like maybe they desperately needed that position. I can't remember what positions they were, but it's just like, because it seemed like that was just a good solid gain plus overall. Will the two players potentially ever play in the NHL? Who knows? It probably doesn't really matter. But at least from the AHL perspective, it seemed like at least for the Islanders, a solid pickup. I know most people that were Blues fans didn't know about the players and didn't really care, so they didn't pay attention to it.
Well, speaking of the Islanders, let's go with their big pickup, Braden Shen.
Yeah, we traded
Yeah, that was a
away.
good pickup.
Yeah, we traded away Colorado's first round pick, which a lot of people always immediately jump to assume was the Islanders first. And no, we went Colorado's, which is probably going to be like pick number 30. Would be my guess.
Can't be worse
So
than 31 after Ottawa's punishment.
sure.
Air quote punishment.
Hey, that was a bit of more making up for a thing. So I feel like maybe a good reason would have been to give them an extra, let's say, mid to late second round pick instead of a first round pick. But regardless, it's we trade away Colorado's first round pick for this season that we picked up in the Brock Nelson trade in the Brock Nelson trade, which I feel like was probably worth it. We have him for now 2 more seasons after this, if I remember right. Right, and he seems to be selling quite well. He's produced on the power play. He's produced on the power play. He's been out there for the penalty kill. He's been playing quite well with him. I mean, he was involved in 2 plays against 2 power play goals against the Leafs. Funny enough, he was involved in both. The other player, I'm drawing a blank on who we picked up from Colorado, who's this young centerman. I'm annoyed at myself. I love this kid. But anyway, like he was able to make
Richie?
yeah, Colin Ritchie.
Yeah.
He was able to settle in good for both of them. So I was quite happy about that. And like we sent them a prospect that, like I was talking about with the Blues, like with the other trade. I don't think anyone in the Islanders fan base that would like, unless they're like an AHL fan or primarily an AHL fan, knew who that person was.
Matt Luff
Right.
or Julian Gauthier.
Sorry.
Yeah, you guys got Matt Luff,
Mm-hmm.
former Hamilton Bulldog.
Yeah, speaking of Hamilton, the Islanders have officially announced that they've submitted their request to move the Bridgeport Islanders, formerly called the Bridgeport Sound Tigers, over to Hamilton. They just need to get approval from the AHL Board of Governors, Board of Directors, whatever it's called, their ownership committee.
Oof.
So it seems like that's definitely going to happen at this point, which is sad, a little bit sad, disappointed, but I get it. I mean, it's an 18,000 just renovated arena, just renovated arena up there in Hamilton.
Well, I agree with you on it is a nice arena. I swung by their pre-renovation back in 2022. Issue is, you're gonna be flying people in across the border, and customs holdups are always a pain.
Well, yeah, that's an entirely different thing. It was just nice having the young players, the junior team right there for like, I still need to go out to one because I want to see players like, well, Cole Eiserman's now over there for in Bridgeport. I want to see him play again in person. But it's going to be nice to like, yeah, I could just go over, hop on Metro North and be there to a game without needing to drive in just a few hours. Versus, well, if I was to drive from here, it'd be like 8 hours. It's hours to get up to Hamilton.
Yeah, you're driving right through Buffalo.
Yeah, like I've done that drive. I've gone to Canada numerous times. I love going up to Canada, but it's not, at least where I currently live. It's a bit of a different story when I lived outside of Rochester. But it's from here in New York City. You can't just decide to go to Canada on a whim.
Yeah, given the current state of the world.
Well, just the time, just the time wise.
Oh, time investment as well, for sure.
That's what I'm referring to. For example, when me and a friend went up to the World Cup of Hockey back in 2016, I was going to a senior school in the Finger Lakes. He was going to SUNY Oswego, and like, was it 2 weeks before the semifinal games? Games like I shot him a text like, you want to just go for the weekend? It's looking like it's gonna likely be. No, it wasn't 2 weeks. It was like maybe like 2 days beforehand. We were talking. I was like, yeah, it's going to be. It's functionally going to be an Islanders Rags game between Yaroslav versus Henrik Lundqvist, playing in the semifinals. There.
What a matchup!
And it was just like so we got a hotel. We were up there for the weekend. We got a hotel for 2 nights. It's something like $150 a night. Like the suburbs, we had to drive into the city each day. I wish I looked at Bourne to go train for that, but I don't know where hindsight's 2020. We watched the we watched the Canada Russia game sitting in the crowd and like the whole festival area for all of like 30 seconds. I had the 5th hardest shot despite never attempting a slap shot before in my life. When their hardest shot thing is something like 85 miles per hour or something like that, and then it was immediately broken by someone else. I think it was set for it. You've seen where like they'll do like fans like try to get the hardest slap shot or something like that over just randomly. Here's a stick, take a slap shot.
Right.
For all of like 30 seconds before someone like did better than me, I had the 5th hardest of the day at something like 85 miles an hour.
Love that.
Yeah, it was great. I was like, oh great, there's my name and there it is. And before I get my phone out, someone broke it and they already replaced it. It's like, damn it.
It happens.
But we stood there in the little festival area watching the game, watching that game, and the next day for like $20 a ticket, we were in like the last row of I think it was called something else at the time, but Scotiabank Arena. Watching it. This is the first time I ever saw a projection on the ice as well. I was blown away. I didn't know that was a thing. They introduced every player on each team with their name, photo of them and their equipment with their helmet or mask off, and with the flag behind them. It was amazing. I got a video of it somewhere. It absolutely blew my mind away just being there for that game, because that's a fantastic arena.
Air Canada Center before it was Scotiabank,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
The ACC.
I don't think its AC was that good either, which is funny. But it's that was absolutely fantastic. But so I can't necessarily do the time commitment, a trip up there to Canada, just on a whim, a few days beforehand.
Right. So back to the East
Sorry
for
about that.
no, you're fine for like the playoffs. Um, Again, at least my model has got um, Hurricanes, Penguins, Blue Jackets in the Metro, and then Sabres, Lightning, Canadians in the Atlantic, and then it would be um, Bruins and the I nope Bruins and the Red Wings
Yeah.
squeaking in with
You're supposed to read
the
from your model, not currently at the standings. Come on.
with the Islanders just being beaten out by just a point.
Yeah, that game last
Um,
night that did not help us.
so we'll see how that goes, but I think
Yeah, everything could change massively with the game starting in just under an hour, where the Islanders are playing the Blue Jackets.
oh yeah, it's a very important game um, for both teams. Let's I think my model gives it to the Blue Jackets,
They've been
but
on a tear recently.
this is before the roster's been announced. So like my model, once it knows the roster,
Oh, okay.
will also update the prediction in case a particular player is
Injured.
injured or
Yeah.
what have you. Yeah, or a particular player is like on a roll or something like that. Um, so we'll see how that shakes out. I'm
I've
kind of
got
surprised that the Islanders are in this position. I would have fully expected them to have already cemented a spot with the Matthew Schaefer bump.
Yeah, it's there's definitely been a few things that are just entirely outside of the team's control that have gone against them. And if you look at some of the teams that we wound up playing recently, like Montreal was just completely dedicated to one of doing it. Like when something broke, like I said last night, when something broke, like it absolutely broke. We were able to patch it before and able to come back and get the lead. But then when it cracked, it completely shattered.
Yep. Yep.
I mean
As when you
and
let
then
in 7 goals, like yeah.
well, if you look at one that was the timing of the goals when they're all closer together, but like we'll go back over to the game against the Senators is like they played well with that. The third period, everything started to get a little bit more messy, and then like 11 seconds left, all left to go down 3-1 with 11 seconds left. 3-1, sorry, 3-2. At the end of the third period, like it definitely doesn't help. The West Coast, we haven't played well against the West Coast in years. Like it used to be West Coast, it used to be down the strongest suit. It was like we're gonna surge up the standing when we go to do the West Coast road trip. That's not the case anymore. So I think there was something about like what was it with Calgary and with LA, like with each of their games. I think the past 10 times we played LA, we've won one game, or maybe it's and then it was like the last 8 times we played Calgary, we've won one game
well the Islanders this season against the West Coast.
as a
I'm
whole.
seeing
Yes,
6-1 on the road.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I
that's not
mean,
that strong. A little positive, but that's still not that strong.
yeah, at home they're 7-7. So
Yeah, it's if we go back a week before that we lost Anaheim 5-1, and the follow up the next day we lost to the Kings 5-3. The West Coast
thing
just
is,
hasn't been our thing recently.
Lang, is your model? Does it have the goalie matchup loaded?
For Islanders,
Islanders,
Columbus.
yes.
No, not yet.
I got Jet Greaves has been confirmed. One
Interesting. Okay.
fun fact: Jet Greaves on 2 days rest is a perfect 6-0
Oh wow.
season.
Okay.
Has he had 2 days
Yeah,
rest?
his last game was Thursday, so
Okay.
2 days rest.
Hmm.
Islanders apparently. The Islanders. Sorokin played yesterday. Are they going to run him back for another game?
Well, I would have wound up saying, and that's the funny thing. I was talking about that yesterday with someone, where it's like I don't know which is more likely to play Sorokin two days in a row if we win, or 2 days in a row if we lose. Like Sorokin likes being the hotter, more heavily worked goalie to an extent, and giving him
Got pulled
another
yesterday.
shot. Sure, but it's that's also just a team just cracking in front of him. Like Patrick was well aware of what happens when like maybe the goalie's not feeling too good and the team's playing like shit in front of you. Sometimes you just need to pull the goalie. And look, David Riddick came in and didn't do much better, do much better if better at all. So it wasn't the goalie. And like for reference, I can always everyone's well aware of the story about demanding that trade out of Montreal.
Yes, yes.
So
I'm just gonna point out the Islanders have had a good record at home against division opponents.
yes,
Seeing 6-2-1. Blue Jackets aren't that bad either. 6-4. So, but my model's leaning a bit more to the Blue Jackets. A bit more is probably putting it politely.
yeah, you're probably putting about 65% or something over to the Blue Jackets. They've been on a
Yeah,
tear recently.
yeah, yeah. Jack Reeves he's been hot.
Yeah. Now the makeup of the team might be significantly different. I don't know what their cap situation is, but what the Blue Jackets you always sort of think about, and it's going to be this way for the next like 2 years probably about Gaudreau. Like how would things be different?
Oh yeah. I mean, Johnny Gaudreau gets you. I don't know. You're talking about the impact of Quinn Hughes. Johnny Gaudreau probably gets you an extra 6 to 8 points on the year probably, and then
Well, it's
like
6.8 points, 6 8 points in the standings, not
yeah,
just his individual points.
yeah, and in the standings, and then like you're not fighting for a playoff spot. You're very firmly in it. Um, so
Quick question is just looking ahead of the schedule. I know I said I never do this, but
yep.
is there some reason something happening in the NHL why they wouldn't have any Islanders games scheduled for 4 days in a row from the 5th to the 8th of April?
Check what's going
Um,
on at the stadium.
yeah, there could be something going on in the stadium.
I mean, maybe. I just like I don't know. For all I knew, there could have been something happening NHL wide that I just wasn't aware of, or I know. I mean, there used to be the whole thing about the like league mandated 1 week break, but some of them were odd like this. Like your week break comes like 2 weeks into the season, or in the season is like, why is it coming there?
It varies. The Caps have like a 3 game break, or
Yeah.
3 day break after this upcoming Saturday. So
It's the Barclay Center, right?
No, we
it's
haven't played
UBS.
Barclays in years. UBS.
UBS.
Yeah, I see it between the 5th and the 8th of April.
Yeah.
There's nothing scheduled at UBS.
Huh. I wonder if there's maybe some sort of a renovation going on.
No, new
No.
stadium.
Yeah, UBS opened up the same time as Climate Pledge.
Yeah,
Sure,
I
but
think
they could still be doing some sort of fixes.
uh,
No, that
no.
that that arena is just that new, and I was like, you could talk about he's been there before with me. Like, it's really solid. It's not the type of like flimsy arena where like things just break.
Yeah, it's right outside the Belmont, which doesn't take place until June.
Yeah, mate, that's I haven't been there in a few months. That'd be the only thing I could possibly think of. There's some maybe if there's some major movements happening with that, because they've been rebuilding
The
that from the ground up.
the other thing is, like, when you get to the end of the season, there are a certain number of times you're supposed to face divisional and conference opponents, right?
Yeah.
So it's the end of the season. It's the Leafs, Sens, Montreal, Carolina. Three of those teams are out of the Atlantic. So it could literally be they need to play those three teams one last time, and their schedule is only available at that time. Like if we go to the Leafs, let's see here, and look at their schedule for the end of the season.
Yeah, we play them on the 9th.
Yep. But like we play on the 8th, so we wouldn't be available there. And then we also play on the 4th. So there could have been like a game in New York on 5, 6, or 7 against the Leafs, but like every team needs their own sort of
No, understand.
rundown time, right?
It's just more thinking about renovations. Just gets me thinking about like the whole grandstand's got torn down and it's being rebuilt from the ground. I don't know if it's technically done yet or not. Like it's been a few months that they've been out there, though technically they're replacing the full grandstands with something like 80,000 seats or something like insane like that to something that unless they put up temporary bleachers only seats something like 8,000 people.
Yeah, I was out there talking with my buddy he's been to the Belmont. He was there when American Pharoah won it, and the race when California Chrome was trying to get the Triple Crown, and he explained how UBS Arena was built as a supplementary piece to the Belmont racetrack, and then Belmont's like, in terms of the aesthetic and exterior of UBS Arena, it was supposed to match the racetrack, and then
it was actually a requirement set by the state, by the local township, by the horse racing track, that they do not want any ugly building, any ugly arena there. It has to match it. It has to be high quality. It has to fit in. And then they go and announce like a year and a half later that they're tearing it down and putting this ugly fucking bleachers up there. It looks horrible. Absolutely horrible. Like, and now they're just removing any potential, like 8,000 seats unless they put up temporary bleacher seats. Like, it's like, yeah, there's gonna be like no extra bathrooms or no extra like concessions or anything like that. It's like, oh, they could do 40,000 people in the future. It's like, no one's gonna want to go sit in like just plate up stamped metal extruded aluminum bleacher seats. No one's gonna like that.
So I actually saw. Hold on, I have a story about that with the NHL. I went to the NHL 100 in 2017 in Ottawa, second coldest outdoor game, or third coldest outdoor game, if I recall. And they put up temporary metal bleachers in both end zones. The actual stadium itself does not have seating there. It's just like an open end zone.
Oh, that's odd.
CFL. So they had giant metal bleachers, and I'm looking at that from where I'm sitting, and I can see like support beams going all the way down to the concrete, and I'm just like, oh man, I would not want to be sitting up there. Like if you drop your phone, that's taking
it's just done. It's done.
60-foot fall.
Yeah, no, it just sounds horrible. And like there was talks about like there was rumors of him going around the organization a bit. Some of the came out fluid. Someone got some people from the NHL talking about like there was talks about the old grandstand, the old grandstands. I was like it would have been odd, but there was talk about an outdoor game at Belmont for the season it opens or while it was under construction. Now, granted, part of this stems from before COVID, but still, is like having the arena game built right there. Before it's open, you have the first game there at Belmont, and fill up the grandstands. And granted, they would almost only bring in some temporary metal bleachers for the sides and the opposing side, but still, if they did that as like a fair weather like beginning of the season or end of the season, especially let's say end of the season type thing for like say the final game of the season. That could look really well.
It'd have to be a fixed day sometime in the middle of the season.
But I'm saying the weather to be the reason why they wouldn't want to do it with how cold it would be.
I agree with you. But talking to the reporters I've talked to, the NHL has kicked around many ideas for outdoor games. Arizona was going to get one if they had if they got a new stadium. It was going to be the 16th hole at Scottsdale, what I heard, because that is a enclosed R3, so they actually have like grandstands built all around that hole for people to watch and cheer. But that never happened. The
Sure. Well, but I'm talking about like for the same thing about with your bleacher story about why they wouldn't do it there.
Yeah.
Why
No, but
why they wouldn't do it during the winter there.
I hear you, but I'm telling you what I saw in Ottawa for the
Sure.
NHL 100 with the temporary seating was
And I don't think they've used
insane.
temporary seating like that ever again. Now you can be
It was
into more outdoor games than I have, so obviously you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they've done anything like that since.
so they did temporary seating for the 23 Stadium Series with the Hurricanes. They put a student section in, like in the lower, like, on the field essentially,
That's a
the
good
end
idea.
zones.
Yeah, but a student section I would imagine wouldn't be that big.
Yeah, it was. I think it was like 8 rows of like
Yeah,
50
that's
wide.
tiny. We're not talking like what you talk about a 60 feet fall with like each row is
Yeah,
like 1 foot higher than it. That's 60 rows or something like that. That's like the
it was.
photos I shared earlier in the year when I went to that's like the road depth from Happy Valley with Penn State. Like those are bleachers. Those are deep, but those are at least a permanent structure.
Yeah, I know. I get it. I'm just telling you that what I've seen when they put these up, that was because the CFL had put it in for the CFL championship game that was in Ottawa that year. So they just left it there for the NHL 100.
Yeah.
But
See what's happening though with TD Place.
yeah, TD Place is nice though. That stadium, pretty
Yeah.
much built into the city. There's a giant apartment complex in one end zone, essentially.
Yeah, that's what Lansdowne 1.0 project. And then this Lansdowne 2.0 project is going to completely tear down the stadium slash arena because they're in one structure essentially and build two new ones. But they're going to take the hockey arena and change it from an 8,000 seat arena to like a 4,000 seat arena. And it's yeah, fine. The 67s have been kind of trash recently, but like the Ottawa Charge, they've been nearly selling out, if not selling out most of their games. And you're going to like cut like seat capacity something like half.
I mean, it's already kind of cut in half with that one side where it's just
No, I'm talking. It's
wall.
currently 8,000 seats. Currently, at this very moment,
Okay,
and the new arena they're going to build is going to be 4,000 seats.
gotcha. Okay.
So it's not like yeah, if they had the other side up to the other side, it'd be 10 to 12,000. No, the new arena is going to be significantly smaller, and the Ottawa Charge are pretty much saying they want to work with them, but they're not going to play games there in such a small arena otherwise. Their attendance numbers are looking too good. They want to be playing in places somewhere in the 10 to 1,400 seat range for on average.
And 14,000, you mean?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I mean,
And now that we,
they've been nearly selling out most games over in the old Pacific Coliseum where the Canucks used to play. They're the primary
the
attendant there.
Vancouver team,
Yeah,
Vancouver team.
the Golden
Yeah.
Eyes.
No. Yeah. No, that's a very retro feeling Coliseum.
Oh, I love the feel of it. We got actually got a poster on the wall of the skyline for Vancouver, and right there in the center of it's the Pacific Coliseum.
Yeah,
My
I've been to a couple games there, but let's get back to the NHL. You're going on to Ottawa, Lansdowne 2.0. Ottawa Senators added Warren Fogle, shipped out David Perron to the Red Wings. Red Wings also got Justin Falk. The Sabres added a bunch of pieces, and Logan Stanley, Luke Shen, Tanner Pearson, Sam Carrick.
yeah, the
The
Sabres.
Bolts bringing back
The Sabres
Corey
could have
Perry.
added so much more if they what's his name from the Blues agreed to waive his no move or no trade clause. So
Yeah, but if they'd made that
Franco.
deal, they probably wouldn't have made the other deals that they did for Stanley.
potentially,
Stanley and Shen out of Winnipeg.
yeah, potentially, and it's probably the best thing for them because some of the asking prices that the Blues were asking and then they agreed to was just seemed to be a bit much.
Yeah.
So they seem that they got the better deals in the long run, and that this will probably be less detrimental to their future.
Talking about a team that broke my model this year, the Buffalo Sabres.
Oh, I love it.
I don't know how Lang. Did you see them crawling up the standings like this, shooting up all the way to the
Nope.
top of the Atlantic?
Definitely not.
So what was it? And I think in the first episode we recorded this, I was talking a bit about how the impact a GM can have on their team, and I used the Sabres and the Islanders as examples. But I think both one of you or both of you wound up saying is like, GM can have that big of an impact. They're going to fall or something like that soon afterwards. And great, you use your model's justification, which obviously you can't predict locker room morale and an algorithm in a model of any way, shape, or form. But it's just showing what the impact of firing a GM can do for a team, to getting someone else in there that's able to give good leadership and to correct the mental attitude of the team from the top on down.
I still don't buy that. I would absolutely buy like coach, but not GM, unless that GM is like in the locker room every single day. Yeah, like I don't buy it. The Sabres are a good team right now, and they're not a good team because of their current GM. They're a good team because of the past GM. Those are the choices and trades he made, draft picks he made, minus obviously the trade deadline and the changes that what's his name? Kekalainen?
Yeah, Jarmo Kekalainen.
Yeah.
Teams can have a GM that can do a great job trading them, or a great trading players, or signing players, or drafting players. Like for example, I'll use a different GM I'm familiar with. Gar Snow was fantastic with making trade deals and getting the most value that he possibly could out of it, and he was really good. I would say he was probably, if he was just in a scouting role, he'd be one of the best scouts in Islanders history. But because his late round picks were absolutely amazing, but I wouldn't ever trust him with trying to sign big contracts. I did not trust his impact for morale of the team, and whatever you do not let him pick a first round draft pick, or try to deal a first round pick away from the team, or sometimes even apply that even for second round picks, because he's the type of GM that will just like mess that up.
Sure. Yeah. I'm not questioning that. I don't think the change in GM is the sole reason that team turned around.
Yeah, I'd like to point to the New York Rangers and their GM Chris Drury, where apparently every home game the Rangers have to lay an egg in front of them.
Yeah, and he's like at most games. He's there in front of the team most games. And I was to talk about this at some point, but it's like everything. And so on that, I'll put the question forward.
Yep.
You have two options for GM/management teams.
Mm-hmm.
The current Leafs one, or the Rags.
Oh, I'd take the Leafs.
Yeah.
Because it at least feels like the Leafs are gonna fire Berube or Treliving, or both.
Let me amend that then. You're locked into both teams currently as is, and you can't change them unless someone dies. You can't hire a hitman unless someone dies for the next 10 years.
I still probably take the Leafs management, which is insane to say.
Yeah.
Chris
I was thinking about the
Drury,
other day.
Chris Drury managed to break the Rangers locker room, forcing, you had your captain Trouba, and he essentially threatened him that, you either leave or I'm going to send you somewhere you don't want to go,
Yep.
or not send you somewhere. I'm going to drop you. I'm essentially going to waive you, and then whoever picks you up, and then
Yep.
Yep.
like that is just cancerous. You can't have a GM that's like shipping out like locker room favorites. You just can't.
Yep. I'm right there with you.
I mean, at least Tree Living's not gonna. He's not the one that screwed up the entire Marner situation
True.
based on reports. Tree Living had nothing to do with that. That was first. It was Lou Lamoriello and Brendan Shanahan by not giving them the Schedule B bonuses, and then Dubas kind of he was dealt a difficult hand, but he didn't handle the Marner situation the best either.
Well, based off of what I've heard, though, like it sounds like based off of what I've heard, it sounds more like
Yeah,
the
Dubas
GM
didn't want him.
Dubas wanted to do things, and maybe Lute as well. I can't really speak for that. I wasn't paying enough attention then, but it seemed like Dubas wanted to do something, but then you had the president of the entire company coming on, but like, oh no, you guys are set for forever. We're not gonna bother to do anything with you.
The belief is that Dubas had the idea in his head that he needs to trade Marner, I think like 2 years ago. After was it the loss to
Boston, was it?
I mean Boston, Tampa, Florida, take your pick.
Sure.
But he had finally like reached a breaking point where he decided that he needed to move Marner, and it was vetoed. And I think that is why when you had that one press conference where he was like, I don't know if I want to deal with this pressure anymore. What wasn't said is I don't know if I want to deal with this pressure anymore when my decisions aren't the ones being made.
It was the summer of 2023.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, the absolute nail in the coffin was his agency was taken away from him, and that's not how he wanted to be a GM.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he was becoming GM in mostly name only. He's being seen forcefully pushed to become a functionally errand man, cover man, assistant general manager.
Yep.
My apologies, I just looked it up. It was the summer of 2022.
Oh, even earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a smart time to move it as well. They could have done a lot with the potential return from that. So much.
Yeah, they could have done a lot for sure.
I mean, just look in comparison if they did like a draft day move for using Dobson. The first I was thinking might be my team. 2 first-round picks for Dobson. Marner could have potentially gone 2 first-round picks and then some. Maybe
Prospect.
2 players. We got 2 first-round picks and Heineman. So they could have gone in 2 players like that in return, or they could have gotten some more veteran players and some prospects and some draft picks. They could have potentially. They could have gotten these players with for like 2 seasons with like salary retained as well, so they could have had like dirt cheap players, which they could have then moved themselves for extra picks if they really wanted picks, or just kept around to fill in some of those gaps for a season or 2, and then dealt them depending on how long their contracts were. There's infinite possibilities for what could have happened there if that move with whatever team had been done at that moment.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, Dubas, what was it? Yeah. So the 2022-23 season was essentially lame duck for him.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate the way it went. It went just as a general hockey fan. Obviously, like I'm rooting against the Leafs right now for the foreseeable future, but it will come to an end at some point.
The they're not as bad as they're playing right now. Just because I don't think anybody. I think everybody in that locker room is kind of checked out from this season. But they're not good enough to be a playoff team at any level of the playoffs, like a first round exit team, or a cup contender. And I don't really see them as having the assets to fix that problem either. And And so I don't really know what their purpose as a team is right now. Like, what is Matthews getting you if you're not making the playoffs? What is Nylander getting you if you're not making the playoffs? What is Matthew Nyes getting you if you're not making the playoffs? I like.
I can
I
tell
would just.
you.
Yeah.
I
I
can
would.
tell you.
I
It's
would.
all butts
I would
in
just.
seats.
I would just cut bait. Well, no, it's proven that it doesn't matter how bad the team is. There will be people in the seats.
And
So,
that's why whatever
like,
his name is bought the team years ago and removed the banners to sell them all for cash and stuff like that.
yeah, like I don't understand again what the purpose of this team is right now. And they really should just sell it all, burn it to the ground, and start over, and then build the team differently this time around with historical relevance when you've got the opportunity to have a quote unquote core four. Yeah, because it's just not the play.
Yeah, the team just doesn't have a direction. They don't know if they want to go up or down right now. Do they?
Exactly.
Do they want to?
They're trying to go down. This season, they're
Well, this
clearly trying
season,
to
of
go down.
course. But it's like, what about next season? Do they think
Right.
they've done enough this season to go up or down? Do they for next year? Do they completely commit to the rebuild? Like their draft day deals are likely going to be what's going to their draft day and free agency are gonna dictate their direction like it always does. But it's like no one knows what they're going to do. You can't
Right.
sort of
And
pick what the greater direction the team's going to be, whether it be this season, next season, or the season after that.
I also don't see a draft day deal that moves the needle enough for them to do something. Like,
Especially with the no move, no trade clauses and stuff out there.
ignore the no trades. Like completely ignore them. Like let's say we could move Nylander. What are you going to get for Nylander that makes this team better?
Nothing.
It's interesting you mentioned Nylander because he was always the person that, like, since I learned of his when he entered the league, is it's like, man, it'd be really cool to have some name of Nylander play for the Islanders.
Right? And like he'll make another team better for sure that needs scoring, but like
Most likely, yeah.
improved defense is not going to make the Leafs better if they can no longer score because Matthews is, I don't know, with Berube as coach is just not an offensive threat anymore.
Yeah, you also just can't have just one player that can score because if you have one player that can score 80%,
And then when you get to the playoffs, you get locked down. Like, yeah, exactly.
and even that when you get to the playoffs, like I had to look up there, but like even just in the regular season, 80% of the league can shut you down. It's not even difficult. 50% of the league can shut down even if you have one top scorer and then one decent scorer. I mean, it's I've seen the Islanders do this for years, where it's just like, yeah, we're up against the Penguins. Like I'm thinking about the last playoff run ever in the Coliseum that we had. Like we completely shut down the Penguins and swept them in that 4-game series. And there was like, yeah, there was we had some people that could score, but no matter how much we could score, we could shut down anyone else who could score in front of us. No questions about it, no offense or but now. That was the whole big year of the broom. We're cursed against Carolina, but if that second round happened at the Coliseum compared to Barclays, that could have been a different story because of energy. But it's so they move these big guns. The Leafs move these big guns, and then what? They got one player that can score, a bunch of people that like, yeah, we'd like to have you, and then what?
Yeah, exactly. They should just burn it all down, start over.
Then what's the minimum you'd be willing to take for these? Because that's what we're talking. We're talking Nylander, Austin Matthews. Like, is it just trying to move it like Panarin got moved, where they got like a second round pick?
You need to have pieces for the future, right? And as good as McKenna looks, I don't think he's a generational talent. So I don't know if
He also has baggage at this point.
I mean, sure.
I mean, doesn't everybody? Austin Matthews mooned somebody down in Arizona during the offseason.
That's very true. But like, I don't put McKenna on the same level as like a Macklin Sanabrini in terms of being uh, a generational talent. I put him more at the like he might be good
On a Bedard level.
Yeah, a Bedard level would probably be equivalent. And so
if I could go back to bragging for a second, the only baggage Schaefer had was the emotional maturity of a lot of trauma.
I mean, if that's not Gen Z in a nutshell, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Nothing but emotional trauma. Okay, so you've got to ship out all of these guys for
first rounders and prospects.
Exactly.
If you can get first rounders, given the no move, no trade clauses and stuff that exist for a bunch of those players.
Yeah, that's how Panarin got only a second round pick.
Yeah, absolutely love that he was just given away for free. Like
second rounders can turn out to be pretty good.
They can. I don't get about it, but it's still the odds of a second rounder becoming a NHL franchise player, or even just a fairly notable player that most fans would recognize, that the three of us would recognize their name, is significantly less likely.
I would like to use the example of Lane and Cole Hudson drafted 2 years apart, and GMs made the same mistake both times.
Sure, I understand that. And I can give the example of Anders Lee being drafted at 19 years old in like the 6th round. I do get it.
I think
it comes down to scouting and how well do the Leafs trust their scouting department.
Ultimately, they need to. Well, I mean, as soon as Keith Pelly joined the organization, they basically fired everybody. So they haven't been throwing their money might around for a little bit now, which is baffling to me. The one spot where there isn't a salary cap, so you should abuse it. They don't. Regardless, like, you just gotta build it the way, like, the accepted way that just everybody does these sort of these rebuilds, is get as many first round picks as you can and hope a Macklin Celebrini, McDavid fall into your lap. And that's like, I mean, Matthews fell into the Leafs lap the first time around, right? So, like,
yeah, but not everyone can be the Oilers.
Like, that's just what they're gonna have to do, because I don't see a path forward. And I'm ready to be really, really happy if they find a way out of this pickle that they're in, but I don't see a path forward. They need to get very creative, and they don't have a creative GM.
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Lang. Their draft situation is really bad. They shipped out their first. It's
the Boston of all
top
teams.
5 protected.
Yeah, it's top 5 protected. And given how they're playing, I have a feeling that we're gonna get that draft pick, but then we're effed over for the next 2 years, because Philly and Boston are gonna fight over the scraps of what's left in terms of draft picks. So, yeah, I don't know.
I'm trying to remember last time the Leafs traded first rounder to Boston. Who did it turn out being?
It was the Kessel trade, and it was like Seguin and Hamilton.
Oof.
Some reason entirely different trade that I knew was wrong that came to mind. The fact that Tuukka Rask was drafted a Leaf.
Oh, yep. Tuukka Rask for Andrew Raycroft. That was a fantastic trade.
Yeah, I knew that was wrong, but it's like some reason that was the trade that popped into my mind.
Yep. Honestly, any Maple Leafs GM that gets hired should just hang up the phone when Boston calls.
There's another guy. I'm trying to remember. I think he's on the Bruins right now.
Fraser Minton.
Yeah, he's finally scoring goals.
Yep.
That would have been nice. 16 goals. What would that be on the Leafs this year.
16 goals is a respectable amount. And that's in
Yeah,
that's in your second to third line player, depending on which team you're on.
Yep.
yeah, he would be sixth on the team in goals between Matthias Michelli and Matthew Nyes.
Should tell you all you need to know about how this season has gone.
Could be worse. You could be the Rangers.
That is always true.
I mean, at least the Rangers have their first round pick? Question mark.
I mean, picks mean nothing for the Rags. Like, let me point out their great success with their first overall and second overall picks of yesteryear, or more just
Yeah.
a few years ago. It's people like, oh, they're bust. We were horrible draft classes that year. We just got screwed over. That's all the cope that Rex fans wind up saying. It's like, no, I guarantee you that if those players with the potential they had went to any other team, and maybe not any other team, but went to the vast majority of other teams, went to to 28 of the 31 other teams, that they would be a better player today than they were before.
I will point out there is a reporter I talked to, and at the time he was writing for ESPN. Um, he basically ripped the Rags for the Elias Anderson pick, and it got so bad that James Dolan called ESPN, and ESPN essentially ended up pulling his story, and yeah, he moved on from ESPN. Let's put it that way. But he had a very nice, detailed history of the Rangers and their amazing first round draft selections.
Love that.
Yeah, and even if they get blessed with a player that like is likable and has some personality to it, and it's hard to root against them. And they come in with great potential. That first season tends to be their height. I mean, we can. Panarin did well for them over the years, but I think that first season was, I think, maybe his statistically best season with them. Shesterkin sort of wavered off a little bit. He's still a great goalie. Don't get me wrong. Can't really, I think Fox has gone by. He might be one of the few options. But like if you want to go back to some more historically, like Leach's best season in his entire career was his very first season in the league. Setting the record that Schaefer is now chasing and is almost guaranteed to break.
I mean, that can be said for a lot of players. Like, Timo Solani never eclipsed 76 goals.
Yeah, well, everyone took out his knees, so.
That's very true.
No, but there is. I agree with you, Mike. There is a historical track record of the Rangers blowing their first round picks, even second round draft picks.
And then there's other times where like I'll give credit to him. Lundqvist was also like a 6th round pick or something like that, or a 7th round pick.
And they get lucky with goalies in that.
Yeah,
Lundqvist developed in Sweden, Shesterkin developed in Russia, so
Yep.
he didn't have to go play in the AHL. They essentially just brought him in, and it's like, all right,
and
here you go.
they became like the goalie for them immediately.
Yeah. So the year Shesterkin came, he spent like half the season in the AHL, and like, all right, you're ready, NHL, let's go.
I completely even missed the fact he spent half the season in the AHL. I thought he came over in a similar type of thing, like Romanov and Sorokin did, where they technically signed post trade deadline bubble contract deals where they were on the team for that season, but they couldn't play any games because of the playoffs. But it eliminated their first year of the entry level contract, but they were made the team immediately from day one, the next following season.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. But going back to the Rangers, you've got they're either shipping them out before they become like really strong players, or they bust. JT Miller was a guy traded to Tampa. And I believe he was part of the Louis deal. No, he was 2018. He was traded. He was traded with McDonough for garbage. Lever, Hatchek, Brett Howden,
Yeah, that's right.
Mesnikov. a 2018 first, and then you just keep going down the list. Brady Skay, he's on his third team now. There's a lot of hype behind Boo Nieves because he's coming out of Michigan.
Who was the person that went over to Minnesota then like immediately like broke his like fibula like the first game there a few years ago? It was like the year after that trade where you were just talking about down to the Lightning, or maybe the same year. Star player or something like big star player, big fan favorite got traded out there and immediately injured for the rest of the season, like game one.
I can't recall.
And whatever. Is one of the names I hear it. I'll curse out when I hear it, but regardless.
Yeah, in 2018 they had 3 first rounders: Vitaly Kravtsov, Yonder Miller, Niels Lundqvist. Yonder Miller's the only thing they got something for, and they traded him to Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you got a first rounder for this upcoming draft, but it's just Kakko. He's done much better in Seattle.
Oh yeah, that's part of my reasoning. I meant to say it earlier. It's like it's the team, the franchise, the organization. That's the issue. Top on down, it's always been there.
Olin decides to start meddling, and everything breaks.
I mean, I don't really think it's necessarily the meddling. There was a Rags fan online. I saw some posts about it that said like in October, if Schaefer has, I think it was more goals or more points than Lafreniere this season, he's going to walk into the Hudson River. And he responded a few months later saying, "My odds are not looking good."
Lafreniere is another first-round pick they screwed up.
First overall, even. Like, this is someone who was like, he was in the OHL. He was like the OHL player of the year 2 years in a row. Q? Sorry, my bad. The QHL player like 2 years in a row. Like, he was like, looked to be like that good. And he's just like, no, he's just like there and like flopped onto the ice. Like, okay, there's potential. Maybe you'll get there one day.
Yeah, there was a lot of hype with Lafreniere. When I saw him in the World Juniors in 2019, he was getting bodied. It was not a good showing for a E-1 year. You're just getting beat on the puck by bigger guys, and that's not able to make adjustments. It was not a first overall looking pick.
And I think it was at World Juniors the season, at least the season before that, and he didn't look that bad at the time either. It's just something about that organization like destroys players.
No. In 2019, he only had 1 goal, and that's when he was getting bodied. 2020 World Juniors, which is his draft year, he looked much better, but the team also looked much better.
Okay.
Yeah, that 2019 team, I'll never forget because I'm sitting there in the quarterfinals, about 6 rows up behind Mikey DiPietro and Noah Dobson. In overtime, stick breaks on the slap shot. They're coming back the other way, 2-on-1.
Yeah, okay, I remember watching that.
Yeah. I was sitting behind the net for that, and I'm like, oh my god, you could hear a pin drop inside. What is it now? Rogers Place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was dead silent. But I saw Lafreniere play a couple games there that year, and he did not look good. Now, granted, he was 17. It was next year he looked better, but that 2019 Canada World Juniors team was not good. I furthermore, the way the Rangers have developed their prospects, I believe he had first Gerard Gallant. That didn't work out. And then Gerard Gallant wanted him playing more defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to remember the coach in between, before Howard Laviolette.
I think
that was immediately afterward. Yeah.
I think the one you're currently thinking is now back with the organization as an assistant coach.
Yeah, so his first year he had what's his name, David Quinn. Yeah, and then Bargalant, Peter Laviolette, who basically just like broke that locker room, as he is apt to
I mean,
do.
there's numerous coaches that have also just broken that locker room. Like
Yeah, and
it,
now they've got
the coaches that the coach for the Rags, they know they have
Elite.
like a season if that, and they try to like milk them and push them and strain as much as they can because they have to win now. They can't win. They can't win next season. No, they have to win now, and they just do damage to their players, and they're unable to recover. The coach and the players. It's and then they just go nowhere and they got fired again.
Yeah, but
Like,
going back to the Atlantic,
yeah, we should wrap this
playing.
up soon. But sure.
Yeah, I didn't think I got a response. How? When did you see the Sabres shooting up in your model? Like around what time? Because I was going through and I saw around Christmas they started turning up.
That is a good question. My model goes all the way back to January 28th. Let's have a look. So on January 28th, my model had the Sabres at a 63% chance of making the playoffs. So my model was starting to really favor them. Let's see, a month later, what does it say about the Sabres then? February 28th, it's now giving the Sabres a 6.3% chance to win the Cup.
Okay.
And as of right now, it's giving the Sabres a 16.2% chance of winning the Cup, only behind the Carolina Hurricanes.
I guess those are the two favorite teams to make it to the finals.
It would be a Sabres Stars final.
No, I meant out of the East. Out of the East.
It would be Carolina. It would be Carolina.
Buffalo.
It would be Carolina.
Yeah, I'm looking at my model, and also, it was roughly around Christmas where they started turning up from being a sub 90 team to a plus 90 team, and 91, 93, 95. It just keeps slowly going up. You can see their point projection. 97, 98, 99, 101 point team, now up to 100. It's just very slow increment, but you just see it starting to just...
Yeah, in January, it had the Sabres projected at 97 points. By the end of February, it had them predicted at 106.
My model's got them at 105 right now.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, second best team behind Carolina. But that essentially broke everything else.
Yeah.
This for the longest time, my model had the Capitals and Senators in the playoffs, and it just kind of pushed them down. So Senators still have what I look at as a good chance, just based on their schedule, remaining games, that they can win out. They're in. The teams ahead of them, they have Detroit, they got Buffalo, they got they're done with the rest.
Well, here's something fun to finish up the episode. Let's pick our Stanley Cup matchups.
We did this last time, but we can go ahead and do it this time. It's always fun.
It's been a few weeks.
Yeah.
Do we remember what our matchups were on the last episode?
I remember. I remember mine though. I did a cheap answer, just sort of picking my own team.
I believe I had Minnesota on my end. Minnesota, and then
I don't even remember who I had. But if I were to choose today, it would be a Colorado Sabres final.
Yeah, we could pick again. Just for the fun of it. I feel like that is your most likely outcome, though. Partially to pick something different, and partially because I know that the Sabres fans and stuff that I know, family members and so on, it would be really entertaining for obviously Stars and Sabres. But I think I'm gonna pick pick the Wild and Stars, just because there's gonna be reactions from them of like Minnesota North Stars, but different.
Well, they're both Western Conference teams, so you got to pick an East.
Well, yeah, Sabres. That's what I was saying.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
because of the serious Sabres family members and stuff that I have from up in the area.
Got it. Okay, I dig it.
Yeah, I am. I don't think I want to move from the Wild. I think I'm going to stick with the Wild. I also put in a nice wager when they had much longer odds very early in the year.
Ooh.
Oh, very
Following
nice.
the money.
Yeah.
So you're buying all of his drinks next time I see you at a game, right? Right? Yeah, you're good.
We'll see what happens. No. The thing is with Dallas, they've got Rantanen, Sagan out right now. Fax is out. I think Sagan's done for the year. Done
Ouch.
for the year. Season-ending long-term injury reserve. He's done for the year. So I'm sticking with Minnesota. I'm not moving from that.
Yeah, that type of bet is also under the assumption that Colorado doesn't fix themselves, which they might fix themselves, but they've been a little bit shaky recently.
Yeah, I mean they had to take the Caps to overtime, and then the Capitals, a team not looking like making the playoffs this year, which wouldn't be too bad because that means I can go to Kelowna and not worry about it while watching the World Junior or the Memorial Cup.
All right, then who you got in the East?
I don't trust Buffalo. I will tell you that much, though. The teams that's been to the conference finals several times already is going to be Carolina. So,
You think they can get past the second round? You're not going to pick like Tampa, who can't get past the second round.
I think the Atlantic is going to be a little more difficult than the Metropolitan.
I don't think so. With that performance that Tampa and Buffalo had, Buffalo now knows that they are a hockey team and not just a bunch of guys skating on the ice. They're an actual.
We are
team.
also talking hockey and not football.
That doesn't matter. They know that when they step on the ice.
I'm making a joke at the Bills' expense.
Oh, I see. Well, I don't pay attention to football, so
it's all good. They have a track record. The Bills were the Buffalo's only hope for the past decade.
2 decades.
Gotcha. Anyway, yeah, Buffalo now knows they're an actual hockey team, and I think any sort of adversity, they're going to be up to the challenge.
Well, there's one more game, April 6th. Play Tampa at home.
Hell yeah.
I'm interested to see how that goes, but I think this is why I say I think the Atlantic is going to be more difficult because Buffalo and Tampa are going to be 1 and 2 in that division.
Yep.
So when they play in the second round, I think it's really going to be a nasty series.
You don't think the Habs that are only 4 points behind the Lightning can't take them out?
I don't think so. The Habs, as you saw last year, weren't as.
The team this year is significantly different than last year, in my opinion, with how they developed and how they've gotten better. They now have 2 different goalies who are both playing well between Flower and what's his name from Czechia.
Dobesh.
Yeah.
Dobesh. And I trust Dobesh. I've been tracking his play. So I trust Dobesh. But I don't think Dobesh is going to be able to go, like 12, 13 games in a row.
Well, look the other guy who is in a similar situation as Dobish was last year. He's also up there. He was playing so well in the AHL, forced them to bring him up there. And now whoever the now Montembeault is likely not going to play a single game the rest of the season or postseason at this point. There was Habs media I saw the other day talking about that. How it's like no. Completely unlikely. It's the 2 of their net, and they'll probably go 50-50 throughout the rest of the year postseason.
I agree with you, but I don't think the Habs are going to be able to beat the Lightning, and even if they do get ahead of them in the playoff picture, it ends up being 2-3 flipped where most of the games in Montreal. I don't see Tampa Bay losing to Montreal. I do see the potential for Tampa Bay maybe losing to Buffalo. But, they also went out and got Corey Perry.
Well, then they're making it the final, but losing, of
experience.
course, as we know. But jokes aside.
Yes, but they got to get to the finals. But they also have, in my opinion, they are more of a playoff built team. So I'm putting Carolina out of the East because I think whoever comes out of that Buffalo-Tampa matchup is just going to get run over by the Hurricanes.
Yeah, their goaltending issues have come back up though for Carolina.
Yeah,
Bussy's not the Bussy of yesterday. Yesterday being like literally a few days ago. Joke about that a few more weeks or months ago.
Well, I mean, yeah, he had a couple of bad games: the Calgary game and the Blue Jackets game. I think Carolina's kind of been coasting because there's nobody that's going to catch him in the Metro. It's just not happening.
I mean,
they're up by 10 points on Pittsburgh. And
if we're talking further ahead, Metro versus Atlantic in the playoffs, like the Sabres only 2 points behind them for home ice advantage.
Like how many? Okay, even let's say the Sabres get to the conference finals. You think that team, after beating Tampa and then whoever the wild card team is, that they will be, ready to play conference finals against Carolina?
Yeah, and especially Buffalo has a fantastic home ice advantage when their fans are there, and right now their fans are there. Like KeyBank Center is an amazing arena. Its noise level is insane, and I've heard it loud when the Sabres been playing there, and when the Sabres weren't even in the building because it was World Juniors. It was at the gold medal game, and it was insane. I loved it. It's all these Sabres fans has just sort of been like hiding amongst the crowd out in public for forever, but they are there.
Okay, I hear you. I still think Carolina is a better team.
We'll see.
We'll find out.
They're only 2 points behind. I think that's what we're gonna call at this point because puck drop for the Islanders game is happening right now, and I need to get back home. So thank you for coming in to the IcyData podcast. I hope you enjoyed. Go take a. We didn't talk about the rankings at all, but here's the rankings on screen here quickly. Go take a look at what we post. This is last week's rankings. For new ones gets posted tomorrow as recording on Monday. It should be posted on r/hockey at some point. Go take a look at there. We'll see you again next time.